All right. I am so excited for this talk. I'm here with Usha Dearing. She has such an amazing resort retreat coming up in the southeast part of Spain. And I wanted to just take this time, Usha, to let you introduce yourself and what you have coming up in September.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Usha, and we made the decision to move to Spain 4 years ago. And I guess our mission, was to build workshops and retreats to really help people heal in the ways they need to. Um, it came from a story of my own healing. I went through difficult times as a child and had some trauma. And then when I became a mother, I decided to really work on those things. And I discovered yoga when I was a lot younger. It was my sort of haven from the world. And then
Yeah,
I explored many different yoga practices and embodiment practices and breath, and realized that so many of these things can really support us in our own healing,
yeah,
as well as different therapies and different um, energy work as well, like many different ways to do that. And
yeah,
I was on a retreat myself and realized the power of the retreats, and how just having, 5 or 6 or 7 days, even some retreats are, to really focus on ourselves, to step away from the stresses of life and just really focus on what we want to do in the growth and what we
yeah.
need to do to feel better, to
Right.
really put ourselves first, because ultimately when we go on these journeys, it's because we really need to put ourselves first in order to work through what we need to work through. So yeah, we did this soul rise retreat. The first time we did was this will be our third year of doing this particular, offering this particular retreat.
Yeah.
And it really is a way to go on a journey to really evolve your soul and to let the soul rise, which is why the name came from.
Mhm.
And we just felt that it was really important to work on different healing modalities within the retreat, but just ultimately to have fun as well. I think
Yeah.
spirituality can be really serious, and we bring elements of fun. And we know we are in Spain and the Spanish countryside. So, of course, there's the connection to Spain and what it has with the food and the culture, and really just an exploration of coming back to ourselves ultimately. Because what we've realized is when we are on the journey and we're not feeling good about ourselves, or we're working through traumas, that really we just need to come back to our true essence. And that takes time, but we can get there. We can feel better ultimately. And that's what we want to offer. So we've brought a few different modalities together. And I use Kundalini yoga, but also I bring in different practices that I've learned over the years too. We do lots of work connecting with nature. Nature's so healing. In walking in the countryside, and
Yeah.
there's mountains around, and it's really is a going back to nature. And I think um, the power of healing in nature is wonderful. So
Mm.
yeah, we bring many aspects, and the food as well. We do lots of
Right.
lovely, delicious home cooked seasonal food. And really it's a coming back to ourselves. It really is coming back to how we should want to feel most of the time.
Yeah.
We want to feel, it doesn't mean we don't have challenges again in life, or we don't go through difficult periods, but this is a real medicine that we feel can really support people in their journey.
Well,
Yeah.
it sounds beautiful, and really the setting is miraculous. I mean, such a beautiful place to be, and you know, I think just getting people out of their comfort zone, out of their day-to-day grind, if you will, and bringing them to a place like this to discover such a beautiful place, and then to be with you and have what you're offering is amazing. Uh, so walk through kind of a typical day of what the retreat is like.
Okay, so one of my favorite days, although when people think they're doing this, they get like nervous, is when we get up to sunrise. We get up super early to go to the beach to watch the sunrise. So when people hear that we're waking at 6 a.m., it's a lot. But then it's from the seeing that to actually after doing the practice on the beach with the sun rising above the sea is one of my favorite days that we do. We often then go for a swim in the sea. And then on that particular day, we come back, we have some lunch, and then we go through another, maybe we do a workshop of some kind. I explore different workshops in the retreats. I like to bring different offerings to the retreat. And once, sometime I have a lady that shares about medicinal mushrooms and the benefits of taking them in tea or having them as alternative to coffee, for example. And, that what chaga does and some other medicinal mushrooms. We also do an aura clearing workshop as part of the retreat. So that could be an offering we do where we actually see our aura after doing some work, like some energy work. So we look at how we can see our aura, or we might even, as another workshop, I sometimes bring an Ayurvedic workshop into it. So we look at our dosha and see how, if we're a particular dosha, how we can support balancing that. So it depends on the group and what people are really there for. I really think that what we've learned over the last few years is how intuitive we have to be, because you don't know who's showing up for the retreat. You think you do, but really people come with different things that they need. So we do tend to work quite intuitively once everyone's together as well. And once we gauge, what people need. And if people want to have extra sessions in something, then we can offer that as well. So it's really, we're really realizing like the power of our intuition and how that can be used in these scenarios as well. So for some of the walks, half the group might not want to do the walk, and then they're free to come and relax instead. Nothing's forced. It's all there if they wish to. And they can also just use the time to stop and rest. And there's lots of areas within the retreat space where you can read a book or just relax and have that time for yourself. We try to have, I try to say, to use the phones as minimally as we need to and really have that detachment as well. And so that we are really just reconnecting to ourselves, and so that would be a particular day. Then we'd probably have dinner and then maybe do a meditation before bed. And then that would be one of the shorter days because we wake up so early. So that would be kind of what we would offer. One of those.
Sounds beautiful. And I recall from our last conversation about this, you mentioned that you get to go into some different temples and have some really interesting ceremonies and experience in those temples that are normally not available. Is that right?
Not in this particular retreat. We have I do offer a ceremony within the retreat, but that may be what you meant. So we do. I offer like a cacao ceremony as well as part of it. And there are spiritual spaces we can go to. So I probably spoke about the mountain, which has got a very spiritual energy as well. And we can also, that could be an option to visit the Mongo mountain. And, there's crystals to be found on the mountain as well. And it's got that there's spaces around that we can visit as well that have got a very spiritual energy. And that's really lovely as well.
That's great. So tell me about that cacao ceremony. That sounds really interesting. Tell me a little more about
of course. So it's been used for years and years in the tribes in South America for healing. It's basically the raw chocolate. But I managed to I found a beautiful place I can supply it's directly from a female business owners in Guatemala. So they prepare it all, they bless it, and then we can get it sent to us. And it's used as a heart opening medicine. So it's you make it and you can bless it as well whilst you're preparing it. And it's it's like a hot chocolate, but it's not sweet. Because the idea of it is it's a medicine. It's to really open our heart. And when we do the practice, we often talk about where we feel we might be working through different things and what we need it for. We set intentions with the cacao, and then we end up drinking it. And it really just does make us just really connect and open the heart so that we can, you know, again, work through what we're working through, or have big realizations of what we want moving forwards, or, you know, setting intentions for the next part of our, you know, cycle, whether it is a seasonal cycle or the part of the year, but really about connecting with, which I believe is the biggest thing that I've been sharing, and I share along my teachings right now, is to really come back to our heart and to be in the space of love, and ultimately love for ourselves, because the more that we end up doing and practicing these self-love practices and care, then ultimately we feel happier in ourselves. You know, we feel so much happier in what we're doing, whether it's, you know, setting boundaries at work that we need to do to make us feel more fulfilled, or working through difficulties in relationships around us, whatever it is, it really makes us really feel into the heart and what the heart needs to really get through and work through what they're doing. It can also just be a really nice, you can drink it daily, you know, it's something you can actually prepare and have daily instead of coffee as well. It's a really lovely medicine.
That's nice. Well, sounds like such a beautiful experience, nurturing, enriching kind of experience that really enables people to kind of feel their center, and really, what would you, if you were to kind of describe the outcomes that you see people that have been on your retreats, can you describe some of those outcomes for people so they can get a better sense?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's been big transitions in people's lives, whether it's, you know, stopping a certain job and starting something different. We had a relationship that it was already broken, but I think the realization of being there really gave her a sense of peace to move through the breakup and to move through what was happening with her in this situation. We had a beautiful experience where we've had 3 generations in one retreat. So even though they weren't all related, we had a mother and a daughter, but also someone that could have been the grandmother there as well. We had 3 generations of women in the retreat, which was beautiful. I didn't know how that would go. It could have been a real clash, but it was beautiful. And that was really special retreat, because as I said, it could have been, you know, one was 16, one was, I don't know, maybe 40, and then there was a woman that's 80 there. So it was like a real mix of energy, but it just was beautiful. What else has been? They're the big things I think that stand out massively for me. You know, realizing that people have had toxic behaviors themselves, things that they've wanted to change, and they've gone on to do an extra work after the retreat as well, and actually broken these toxic habits that they've got. I think they would say the big shifts in people, but there tends to be quite big shifts, and this is what we're realizing as we do them more and more, how much can happen and how much can transform in that time, and how people can really have huge realizations in that time where they're maybe not happy, or where things aren't aligned in their life right now. And it tends to happen when we have that space to fully stop and rest.
That's great. So essentially putting the pause on, immersing yourself in a different environment, a beautiful environment, and really learning and growing through that process. Sounds beautiful.
Yeah,
is
really
there
is.
anything else you would like people to know?
I think it's that it really just isn't your usual yoga retreat. It really is a combination of different modalities that come together and infuse together to really go to a different space. I've been to places where, or I've seen yoga holidays as such. This is really the reason we call it Soul Rise is it really allows you to rise again, and to really feel that reconnection as well to ourselves again. It's an experience. It's definitely an experience.
So how do people get to learn more about this, where should they go?
Sure, I've got my website, I have Instagram, Facebook. I
Okay.
can send links to those. And yeah, so yeah, my website is
We'll include all those in the comments and everything for the social media posts that we do as well. And
perfect.
then of course they can contact you directly if
Yeah.
they have questions. And
Yeah, of course.
that's
I'm
wonderful.
always available. And if anyone that is interested wants to jump on a Zoom and get to know me further, I totally understand that as well. And I'm always happy to do that as well, just so people can get to know each other. It's a big experience when we retreat. You know, it's an investment, I know, into ourselves, and also I feel that it's good for my guests to really get to know me before they arrive as well. So I always offer that as part of
Yeah.
this as
Yeah.
well.
Well, that's beautiful. Well, thank you very much for sharing. It's wonderful. I wish you so much luck on this, and
Thank
I know
you.
people are going to just love it. So it's look forward to getting this out there, and just thank you very much for sharing.
Oh, thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you, Ron.
Well, let's see here. We'll edit this